Using the random number generator. Random number generators fulfill a number of purposes. Everything from games to simulations require a random number generator to work properly. Randomness finds its way into business what if scenarios as well. In short, you need to add random output to your own application in these situations. Creating a random number isn't hard. All you need to do is call a random number function as shown in the random number generator example. Hashtag include iostream, hashtag include time.h, hashtag include standard library.h using space standard. Int main always set a seed value. Rand unsigned int time null. Int rand modulo 12 C out. The random month number is random value plus 1 in line return 0. Actually, not one of the random number generators in the standard library works properly. Imagine that. They are all pseudo-random number generators. The numbers are distributed such that it appears that you see a random sequence, but given enough time and patience, eventually the sequence repeats. In fact, if you don't set a seed value for your random number generator, you can obtain predictable sequences for numbers every time. How boring. Here is a typical output from this example. Hello, Richard Andrew Crosby. How are you doing? The random month number is 7. The first line of code in main sets a seed by using the system time. Using the system time ensures a certain level of randomness in the starting value, and therefore a level of randomness for your application as a whole. If you comment out this line of code, you see the same output every time you run the application. In our case, our system outputs 6 every time. Richard Andrew Crosby said, I'm fine, and you? I'm doing good, thank you. Just getting some reading time in with this stream. I just did some dancing the other stream, and before that I did some math time. And then the stream this morning I got some golf clash time, so good mix of streams. And getting off-stream stuff done. The example application uses rand. Oh, I have to set a timer. To create the random value. When you take the modulus of the random number, you obtain an output that is within a specific range, 12 in this case. The example ends by adding 1 to the random number because there isn't any month 0 in the calendar, and then outputs the month number for you. Oh, hello, Candy Cat. Thanks for saying hello. Well, hi. Thanks for saying hi. And Richard Andrew Crosby said, like, comment, subscribe, share. Thank you. Very cool. Very cool. Appreciate you saying that. In fact, I appreciate you so much for saying that. I want to go ahead and pin that message. Okay, thank you. The standard library provides access to 2 types of pseudo-random number generators. The first type requires that you set a seed value. The second type requires that you provide an input value with each call and doesn't require a seed value. Each generator outputs a different data type, so you can choose the kind of random number you obtain. Table 1-1 lists the random number generators and tells you what data type they output. Okay. Hi, Candy Cat. I see you've got a lot of dots happening. If you're wondering, this is typically the question I get around these streams. I'm reading C All-In For Dummies. This is the 3rd edition. This is written by John Paul Mueller and Jeff Cogswell. There's 6 in 1 books, and we're in book 6, which means we're going to be done soon. Woo, not today probably, but soon. And yeah, I'm excited. All right. Table 1-1. pseudorandom number generator functions. Function, output type, seed required, rand, integer, yes. DRAND 48, double, yes. ERAND 48, double, no. LRAND 48, long, yes. No. MRAND 48, sign long, yes. JRAND 48, sign long, no. Now that you know what the pseudorandom number generators, now that you know about the pseudorandom number generators, look at the seed functions used to prime them. Table 1-2 lists the seed functions and their associated pseudorandom number generator functions. Table 1-2 seed functions. Function, associated pseudorandom number generator function. SRAND, RAND, SRAND 48, DRAND 48, seed 48, MRAND 48, LCONG 48, LRAND 48. Performing comparisons using min and max. Computer applications perform many comparisons. In most cases, you don't know what the values are in advance, or you wouldn't be interested in performing the comparison in the first place. The min and max functions make it possible to look at two values and determine the minimum or maximum value. The min and max example demonstrates how you use these functions. Hashtag include IOStream using namespace standard, int main, int number 1, number 2. Cout, type the first number, cin, number 1. Cout, type the second number, cin, number 2. Cout, the minimum number is min, number 1, number 2, in line. Cout, the maximum number is max, number 1, number 2, in line. Return 0. In this case, the code accepts two numbers as input and then compares them using min and max. The output you see depends on what you provide as input. But the first output line tells you which number is smaller, and the second tells you which is larger. Assuming you provide values 5 and 6, here is the application output you see. Type the first number, 5. Type the second number, 6. The minimum number is 5. The maximum number is 6. Working with temporary buffers. Temporary buffers are useful for all kinds of tasks. Normally, you use them when you want to preserve the original data. Yet, you need to manipulate the data in some way.
From your calendar.
For example, creating a sorted version of your data is a perfect use of a temporary buffer. The temporary buffer example shows how to use.
From your calendar, Dr. Whitney, raw follow-up, starts in 10 minutes.
A temporary buffer to sort some strings. Hashtag include IOStream, hashtag include vector, hashtag include memory. Hashtag include algorithm. Using namespace standard, int main, vector string words, words that push back blue, words that push back green, words that push back teal, words that push back brick, words that push back purple, words that push back brown, words that push back light gray. Int count equals words that size, cout, words contains count, elements in line. Create the buffer and copy the data to it. Pair string star pointer diff t mem equals get temporary buffer string count. Uninitialized copy words that begin, words that end. Mem first. Perform a sort and display the results. Sort mem dot first, plus mem dot second. For int I equals 0. As long as I is less than m dot second, increment I, cout, m dot first I, in line, return 0. The example starts with the now familiar list of color names. It then counts the number of entries in vector and displays the count on screen. At this point, the code creates a temporary buffer using get temporary buffer. The output is pair, with the first value containing a pointer to the string values and the second value containing the count of data elements. Mem doesn't contain anything. You have simply allocated memory for it. The next task is to copy the data from vector words to pair mem using uninitialized copy. Now that mem contains a copy of your data, you can organize it using the sort function. The final step is to display the mem content on screen. Here is what you'll see. Hi, Ryan. I don't know what would happen if I tried to tell Alexa to do that. I'd rather not be rude to her, though. So this right here is vector, buffer, pair. That's get temporary buffer. And, oops, wrong button. And then this is an uninitialized copy, and then it says for the output looks like words, contains 7 elements: blue, brick, brown, green, light gray, purple, teal. And hello there, chapter 2. Working with user-defined literals, UDLs. This chapter will learn about considering the needs and uses for UDLs, using the UDL features of the standard library, and developing custom UDLs. Previous chapters have discussed literals as kind of a constant. For example, in the expression x with capital X equals 5, the number 5 is the literal constant. The constant x stands in for the number 5 in application code. Using a literal makes it possible to create code that states the use of a value clearly, rather than having code that's filled with mystery values that no one can figure out. In addition, using literals makes it possible to change constant values in one place, rather than in each place they're needed in an application. Ryan Ordinance says, I'm rude to Google, but I also tell her I love her too. Oh, okay. Well, I guess you balanced that out nice. I don't know. Up to this point, you have used every other kind of literal constant in the various examples, except for user-defined literals, UDLs. Unlike other kinds of literal constants, UDL isn't defined as part of the C++ compiler. You create UDLs as needed to make your code more readable and easier to manage. In some cases, UDLs come with the libraries you use in C++, such as the standard library. This chapter does discuss UDLs that come as part of the standard library, but it also looks at how you'd create your own UDLs as needed. Remember, UDLs aren't part of older C++ specifications. In fact, they first made an appearance in C++11. What this means is that you must configure code blocks to use the features provided by C++11 by using the technique found in the Configuring the IDE section of Book 4, Chapter 6. If you don't perform the configuration for each example in this chapter, you see error messages telling you that the default setup doesn't provide the desired support. Understand the need for UDLs. The whole point of literals is to make code more readable and easier to maintain. However, built-in literals are limited to a few data types. Summarized as follows: integer, floating point, character, string, boolean, pointer, UDL. Sometimes you need a literal of a type other than these built-in types, and that's where UDLs come into play. Unlike variables, the value of a UDL is always known at compile time. The compiler substitutes whatever value you define for the UDL with the actual value in the code. The purpose of the UDL is to make the code easier for the human developer to read and understand. Once that task is completed, the compiler is free to use the actual value referenced by the UDL in the compiled code, so the application doesn't need to convert it during runtime. What this means is that your application runs faster and uses fewer resources while remaining easy to read. Ah, that's nice. Remember, built-in literals are straightforward because they're based on core types. UDL can be as complex as you need it to be to express a real-world data type. For example, if you're involved in a field that uses imaginary numbers, you can create a UDL to fulfill that need. You can also perform data conversions and also tasks that would be time-consuming to perform in other ways. And it's even possible to create side effects, such as performing some sort of output using a UDL. Huh? Bernardina, I don't have a cat. I'm very lost right now. Why are you saying I have a cat? Prefixes and suffixes. Saving time and effort is part of the reason you use literals. There is a shorthand way to create literals and ensure that you obtain the correct consonant type. Many of the standard literals provide you with a prefix or suffix you can use to access them. Precisely how the prefix or suffix is interpreted depends on how you use it. For example, a suffix of U could mean an unsigned int when used with an int value, while a prefix of U could mean a char 32 T const pointer when used with a character string. Table 2-1 shows a listing of the prefixes and suffixes that most compilers support. What? Other than traffic? I don't know what was in the background. I don't recall hearing anything other than traffic. And if you're talking about behind me, like visually, I don't know. Listing 2-1, creating literals using prefixes and suffixes. Has to include type info, has to include cxxabi.h, using namespace standard, using namespace ABI, char star demingle, const char star object, int status, char star real name equals cxademingle, object 00, ampersand status, return real name, int main, auto, int 1 equals 23, auto, int. Oh, I forgot I was doing this. Table 2-1, standard prefixes and suffixes. Data type, prefix, suffix, resultant type. Int, capital U or lowercase u, unsigned int. Int, capital L or lowercase l, long. Int, L, all kinds of combinations of U's and L's, uppercase and lowercase. Unsigned long. Int, LL or LL. All up or all down. Long. Int, all kinds of ways of expressing long. Double F. Float. Again, could be either capital or lowercase. Double L, long double, char, capital L, W char T, char capital U, char 32T, char lowercase u, char 16T, string capital L, W char T, const star, string capital U, char 32T, const star, string lowercase u, char 16T, const star. Using the prefixes and suffixes can save you considerable time. The prefixes and suffixes example in listening to -1 demonstrates how you'd employ them to create variables of various sorts. Listening to -1, creating literals using prefixes and suffixes. Hashtag include type info, hashtag include cxx_abi.h, using needs to be standard, using needs to be ABI, char star demingle const, char star object, int status, char star real name equals 6a demingle object 00 ampersand status, return real name, int main, auto, int 1 equals 23, auto int 2 equals 23 out, auto int 3 equals 23 u, capital U. The other thing was capital L. Auto int 4 equals 23 lowercase u. Auto string 1 equals hello. Auto string 2 equals capital L, hello. Auto string 3 equals capital U, hello. Auto string 4 equals lowercase u, hello. C out int 1 inline demingle type ID int 1 dot name inline. C out int 2 int line demingle type ID int 2 dot name inline. Continued. C out int 3 inline demingle type ID int 3 dot name inline. C out int 4 inline demingle type ID int 4 dot name inline. C out string 1 inline demingle type ID string dot name inline. C out string 2 inline demingle type ID string 2 dot name inline. C out string 3 inline demingle type ID string dot name inline. C out string 4 inline demingle type ID string 4 dot name inline. Return 0. The demingle function. The demingle function is GCC specific. Most C++ compilers mingle, modify the spelling of, keywords and type information to make an application harder for someone to reverse assemble. Convert from machine language back to C++ source code. In order to determine type information, you use the type ID function to create a type info structure. The name function returns the type name found in this structure to display it on screen. However, this name is mingled, so you must use the demingle function to change it back to its original readable form. Most of the examples in this chapter rely on the auto keyword to automatically detect the variable type. Wow. Okay, I'm going to close out. I'm going to close out this, this time is up, but I will close out this section. Oh, hi, Zebra Brown. Oh, sorry about that. It's just a bunch of, technically speaking, it's just a bunch of applied math, technically, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I decided I wanted to get in computer science. I found out I had to do all the math, but I get you, not everything is math. Oh, okay, well, I'm glad you enjoyed listening. That's awesome. But yeah, I'm just going to wrap up this section, and then that's going to be it for this stream. And then I'm going to take a break from stream so I talk with my boyfriend and have some dinner. And maybe I'll be doing some C++. Not this. This is C++. Kingdom Hearts time before bed. We'll see. Most of the examples in this chapter rely on the auto keyword to automatically detect the variable type created by UDL. This keyword is an important feature for newer C++ applications that make use of the new extensions that the language provides. You can read about the auto keyword in the Using the Auto Keyword section of Book 4, Chapter 7. In this case, the code uses the auto keyword to detect the output of the literal prefix or suffix so that the variable is automatically the correct type for a situation. When you run this application, you see the following output. No, not today. I definitely had a slip on that one. Sorry, right? Not today. Okay, so here's the output. 23 int, 23 long, 23 unsigned int, 23 unsigned int. Hello, char const star 0x46e02c wchar underscore t const star 0x46e038 char 32 underscore t const star 0x46e02c char 16 underscore t const star. Even though the data is the same in every case, the variables used to hold the data differ because of the prefix or suffix used to create the variable. Notice that the same prefix or suffix has different effects depending on the type of the variable to which it's applied. In addition, sometimes the case of the prefix or suffix matters, as in working with a string. Technical stuff. Some compilers, such as GCC, include non-standard extensions for numeric data that you need to use with care. Given the popularity of GCC and the need for these number formats, you may find that you actually do need to use them at times. Here are some common suffix extensions provided by GCC implementations. Sorry, no. I'm kind of just ready to chill for the rest of the day. D for double. I gotta go back to work tomorrow, and I don't know what to expect, so I kind of just want to chill for the rest of today. DF underscore decimal 132, DD underscore decimal 164, DL underscore decimal 128, W underscore float 80, Q underscore float 128, I double complex, FI float complex. Alright, that is going to be it for reading today. This is page 707. And as far as chapters, the last page for the last chapter is somewhere. I lose count. It's like I don't know when the appendix starts. I'm pretty sure Boost is considered part of the regular material. Either way, for sure. This is 707, and the last page of the appendix is at just before the index. And I am planning on reading through the appendix. So, 707, 794. So, still really getting really close. What do you mean? Bernardina, I am going to program. Also, I do have a kitty cat, so I don't know what is going on right now. I can't show you something you don't have. I assume you're talking about the animal. And I don't have an animal that is a cat here. No, I'm not going to read the index too. Ugh. I don't know. I guess I could make the index, the appendix a separate thing, but like it seems kind of weird. Plus, I think I read, like, anytime they referred, I don't have a cat, though. Look, if there's a cat in here, someone is playing a practical joke on me. Because I don't have a cat, and I don't leave my doors open. So someone would have had to have just randomly opened my door while I was away and shoved a cat up in here. Because there are cats that live down in the common area. And if that's the case, I'm going to end up in a bad situation. These cats don't live without food. So I don't know how you saw a cat. And I'm not worried that I'm going to end up having a dead cat on my hands. Because I don't expect there to be a cat here. Like, I literally don't have a balcony. And I only leave my bathroom window open and by a crack, and there's a screen. So I literally have no idea how a cat would be in here. Ryan Ardina said, sorry, I figured out where you lived and put a cat in your bed. Could we not? That sounds like not good. Don't do that. I sure hope there's no cat in here, because I don't want to see that. I've already seen enough dead cats. I swear, I've gone like my whole life without seeing dead cats. And last year, I was walking along and I looked at the front lawn and there was this poor kitty whose head was just bashed open. And I had to report that to my property manager. And then it was part of the bad mojo that happened last year toward the beginning. And then this year I was hanging out with my brother and we were walking and there was a black cat just slumped over by a light pole. So it's like, I got enough experience with dead cats lately. I'm not trying to add to that. I don't know what's going on with that. So, no, can't say I'm interested in more dead cat time. Very much not. Cats are easy to throw food at them? Great. Now you got me worried there's actually a cat in here. Hello, Puran Prakash January. I didn't need that, Ryan or Dina. Alright. It's almost time for my boyfriend to be finishing up with as usual, so I'm gonna set timer for 5 minutes to close out the chat. 5 minutes and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, let's not. I don't need a cat in here. What? No, I just where Dina? You insist. He's so funny. Ryan said I'll take the cat and put a dog in. Gosh. Ryan, I know you like to troll, but I don't agree in your method of trolling. I think you're a cool dude and you shouldn't be trolling yourself so hard. Enjoying everyone? Sounds good, Faran. Thank you. Okay, I think I'm just gonna do pasta tonight and don't worry, like in a salad, not like what? Not like, because although I'm not doing vegan today, I already did meat already, so I'm not trying to double the meat. I should just stop eating meat, but also I'm losing so much weight that I feel like that would not help. I gotta be a lot more on top of my strength building game before I try and go vegan. Like all the way. I mean, I guess I could take a break from dancing time. That might improve things. But I'm trying to cut it down to a minimum. I don't know. I don't have any good answers. But I do know it's pill time. I'm gonna go get my pills. Alright. Spent time driving with my boyfriend today, so I don't expect any more driving time today, so I should be good to take my pills. Smart idea said if you lose more weight, I couldn't tell you from a piece of paper. Yeah. I wasn't really thinking much of it, but now my boyfriend's got me concerned. So I gotta try to work in the strength training. Hopefully that will help add weight on. I think I'm just kind of stressed too. Probably doesn't help things. Just feel like arrested development's going on, like even more than usual. No, I'm not gonna start drinking. Hello, 313. Unfortunately, I don't know how to translate the language that you're posting and don't know how to respond. Stressed about what? Oh, the usual. Just my timing is just off, and there's so much I want to do. Like as far as job stuff, but still confused about how to do. Okay, we're sitting in time, but then I'm gonna have to go after that. We're sitting 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bernardina said, I can tell you how to do it, and you will not like my answer. I really don't have any good way to translate into English. I'm sorry. Okay, Bernardina. What is this answer that I won't like? Well, I do see said hi. Thank you for seeing hi. So it looks like your username is on the right side. So that's good to know. Brian, are you leaving me hanging here? Just my main thing is I don't really have 9 to 5 available, and I'm very limited. Oh, hi, Wicked Alpaca 23. Are you just. Huh? Oh, are you a programmer for C++? I just joined the stream. Oh, I code in C++, among other programming languages, but I've been really interested in doing C++ since I had a class for advanced object-oriented programming back in fall of 2024, or was it 2023. So Champarati Shiving. Hi. 313 asks where you're from. I'm here in California in the United States. Bernardina, are you running out the clock? Or did you peace out? Or did you change your mind? I can't tell. I'm just saying, because I do not have 9 to 5. And I'm help my boyfriend with this thing, and I want to keep being able to do that. So, okay, maybe. And like, at the very least, I gotta have like some kind of like ooh, on those days when I help him, I don't mind working, I just can't be in a designated area. Mary said, ask you and just do it. You need a job or a different one. And apply and keep applying. Jobs have nothing to do with you're qualified or not. But the person interview with job scheduling. Schedules coming all shapes and sizes. Hello, person who has a slanted face emoji going on. Not sure why you need all the dates. Hopefully I'm not getting fished or something. I always gotta be concerned about that. But I'm 40. That's my age. Hi, not 91. I'm doing alright. Okay, friends. We are out of time. I had to go talk to my boyfriend. At least be ready so that when he calls, I can talk with him. So I'm gonna go do that and eat dinner, and maybe if I'm feeling it, before bed, do some Kingdom Hearts time. Okay, you have a point. I know I've been talking and being very much terrified of applying, but I just feel like I don't have much of anything to offer. Anas 91 said, did you work on a project in the last days with CPP? Like recently? Are you asking if I've recently worked with C++? No, not recently. The last time that I coded anything in C++ was about this time last year when I was finishing up grad school for computer science. Not saying anyone, so it's nice. Marty says, oh, and tell your boyfriend not to give you crap if your schedule affects him and move in with one or another. Do you prefer? Yeah, I don't see that working out. And as far as getting crap, that's not a concern. It's more so I just want to make sure he can do the things he needs to do. And for his safety, I help out for safety reasons. I'm not getting into details, but it's more so I just want to make sure he is safe and well. Because I was in a position where I felt like I was losing him due to safety things, and I just don't want that again. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and head off the stream. And thank you for being here, Anas91, and thank you, Reinardina. You have a point. I should just figure out something. Thank you, 313. Thank you, slanted face emoji. Thank you, Wicked Alpaca 23. Thank you, Nightbot. Thank you, Paran Prakash Chateri. Huh? Oh, I borrowed it from the public library. That is true. I don't know how I missed that earlier. Thank you, Zebaconjo Brown. I'm sure looking forward to having it back. Thank you, Candy Cat. Thank you, Richard Andrew Crosby. Yeah, I'm good. You're welcome to ask anyone. I am good. Tired? Probably. That's kind of default for me. A lot to do all the time. So, anyway, pretty good streaming. Hopefully I'll get to close things out later before bedtime with some Kingdom Hearts. We'll see. It depends on how the rest of this time goes. Thank you to anyone who I may have missed. And thank you to anyone who might check this out in the future. Stranger things have happened. And whenever, wherever, however, whatever, just make the most of it. That's the most important part. Bye-bye.